process works, as you do. So if you're gonna apply for these and you secure them, everyone in the room needs to understand that that appropriation amount must be maintained and can't be tinkered with. Basically, I'm arguing your point for you.
Thank you.
Or there has to be other adjustments to cover that cost.
Correct. What comes first, the chicken or the egg? That's right. The same with the fire department, with the fireman grant or firefighter grant. Anything else? Any more discussions on any of the ordinances this evening? Okay.
Roger?
Yes.
Can you give us some information about the orders for marijuana?
Yes, the city's been approached by a company who is interested in potentially building a facility here. They're applying for one of the 24 licenses that we apply across the state. They're potentially interested in building a facility here, a secure facility to grow and process marijuana. They are required to have approval. It is a process in Ohio that marijuana will not be, it's medical marijuana only, and it will actually not be smoked marijuana. They will only be able to use the oil extract from the marijuana, as you say. So this is not marijuana that's going to be out on the streets. People, no one's going to be smoking marijuana with permission. And we are required to approve it if we want them in the facility. But the fact of the matter is there'll be hundreds of companies applying for these licenses. There is no guarantee that any company will get a license. There's only 24 for the entire state of Ohio. So this is step one. They've expressed an interest, and we have to say yes or no whether they can build it in the city and set up a facility. These facilities will be secured. They'll have security, cameras, fencing, things like that. And they would still be subject to our zoning laws and regulations. They can't just be built anywhere. They have to be built in accordance with our zoning.
That's what I was asking. There are zoning restrictions.
They would be an industrial building. They would be industrial property. They can't just build it anywhere they want. They would have to comply with our zoning laws. And we could amend our zoning laws to make sure they build it in place.
How about like in proximity to schools?
Right now, there are no state regulations on that, because this is a building, not a sales unit. This is not a distribution point. This is a cultivation system. But the state is not finished making all their regulations. Some of those won't be released until September. So not all regulations have come out yet. So as of now, there are no regulations regarding any of this in that regard. But we could, we could make sure that they're built in places that we need.
Can I follow up? Go ahead. Go ahead. I was going to ask Steve, I spent about 30 minutes yesterday afternoon chatting with one of the gentlemen part of this group, and I had some questions that were answered, but one that wasn't was I had asked, has this group chatted with members of our safety department? And they said, as of no, not yet. So, point blank, Chief, I'd like to know your thoughts on this before I cast any vote.
The legislation was to make this process legal. From a legal standpoint, department have no problems with it. What my concern would be, what I'd want to review would be the security plan. Throwing hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars worth of product there, and I want to see what their plans are when they transport the product out. What their building security plans are. You may have people that may look at that facility though. They want to rob the place. So that's the only question I'd want to see what their security plan would be, especially when they're transporting the product in and out of the building. But legally, the legislature legalizes it. That's what we had to do against it. Legal.
Are they requesting this in every community? I know it's
Well, every company who wants to locate somewhere has to request it from their community. The company we were approached by is not the same as the company that approached Warren. So that just shows you there's a bunch of companies trying to get these licenses. And like I said, there's only 24 from the state. Not all 24 are in Northeast Ohio, I can assure you that. So, it's a limited number.
there'd be no problems with like the fire department or safety, the fire out there, nothing on until it came time. Say we won and then it goes into the building. That's when it's supposed to be done.
Yeah, they would have to build underneath, I'm pretty sure we set up in the ordinance or the state laws, type of construction, and then they would have to follow the Ohio fire code on with the fire protection.
That it? All right, we'll pledge the invocation.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
As we gather this evening, let's be mindful of our civic responsibilities. That wants to make Niles a better place to live. In the name of Fred, clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Patlas.
Here.
Mr. Lasset.
Here.
Mr. McNaughton.
Here.
Mr. Stuckey.
Here.
Ms. Marquez. Here. Mr. McCavitt.
Here.
Mr. Patano. Mr. Marino.
Here you had your meeting minutes of May 17th distributed before you. Your pleasure. Moved by Marquez, seconded by McNaughton to accept and place on file. Questions or comments? All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Reports and communications.
First, from the Office of the Treasurer, monthly receipt totals from the income tax division through May 2017.
Chairman, I'll make a motion, we accept this as placed in our file.
Moved by Papala, seconded by Steffi to accept and place on file. Questions or comments? All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Next, from the Auditor's Office, check report by check number for May 2017.
Chairman, likewise with that, make a motion, we accept it as placed in our file.
Moved by Papala, seconded by Lasek to accept and place on file. Questions or comments? All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Next, from the Auditor's Office, statement of cash from revenue and expense through May 2017.
Chairman, I'll make a motion, we accept that as placed in our file.
Moved by Papala, seconded by McNaughton to accept and place on file. Questions or comments? All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I was remiss, our treasurer asked to be excused this evening due to a death in her family. If you'd be so kind as to make a motion to excuse her, I'd appreciate it. McNaughton, seconded by Marquez. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Members of the, oh, go ahead.
Going back to the check one, I had to look for it, but, when I was reading over this, I did notice a check written to Jan amount. What is that one? I'll just show you Jan amount.
Do you know Andy?
I have to look into it, Steve, I already looked
Monocular?
So they can raise them years from this one.
dog or something there, if one of them not good size.
Okay. Members of the audience, if you would like to address Niles City Council this evening, please raise your hand. Duran, just give me 1 second. Raise your hand, be recognized by the chair. You have to step forward, state your name and address for the record, and you're recorded 5 minutes. Duran, come on up. Yep.
My name is Duran Porter, live on 146 West 2nd Street, South Side. And today I brought with me the rest of the neighborhood. We're having a slight problem with one of our residents that's down on First Street. Guilty. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Right now, it's getting to the point where the problems are starting to escalate. They start fighting with the teenagers. The one mother is here, her son, Thomas, who's like 52 years old, punched her son in the face, for absolutely no reason whatsoever. He was cutting my grass, minding his own business. It's just getting to the point where I come home, my windows are getting busted out, we're getting eggs over our house.
Duran, can I interrupt for 1 second? Have you met with the safety director and police chief?
No.
What I would like to do is...
We just want them out of the neighborhood, period. It's at that point, we're not gonna do anything else, we're not gonna come back, we just want them out.
Well, no, we need to make sure we work with our police chief and safety director, and if problems persist, you do need to come back, because that's what we're all here for. No, she shared this with me on Saturday. She was at my next door neighbor's house, so. What I'd like is if you could hang around after the meeting, or if you would give the chief and safety director your number, meet with them, share all your concerns with them, and work with them to try to ameliorate this problem. That's what I really appreciate. But we don't want people not to feel like they ought not to come here, because if there's an issue, you need to come here. That's what we're for.
Is it a homeowner or is it a rental?
Rental. And we've been here before with these people.
Yeah,
Nothing's been done. So, I mean, it's getting to the point where, we're about to give up and take matters in our own hands. We don't want to do that right now.
Grant, what I want you to do is,
It's either them or us.
I want you to meet with, Mr. Canacletus and our police chief,
Right.
and work with them, and see if we can't come up with a solution. So if you all would just hang around till the meeting's over, and talk to them right afterwards, I'd appreciate that. All right, good seeing you, my friend. Anyone else wish to address Niles City Council? Chuck, name and address for the record.
Charles Johnstone, 145 Sheridan Avenue. Hi, guys, I'm back. Been a while, it's still the same old thing. Last winter, I had Mr. Crowley come to my house, and we took a ride through my neighborhood. I showed him the property of what our concerns were in the neighborhood. I haven't seen one thing happen since that time, not one thing. We go through this speech of the broken window syndrome. Windows are still broken and more are coming. We have issues upon issues throughout the neighborhood. 90% of them are all rental properties. I can understand that, it's full plight. We have people that are coming into the neighborhood and into the city that don't care. And the people that are renting the property don't care. I keep coming back and I keep asking for help. I don't get it. I don't see it. Somebody's got to come up and step up to the plate and tell me how we're going to do this. I keep hearing all the things that we want to do, but we don't get it done. How can we do it? Please, somebody come and show me. I know that you heard me in these speeches over and over and over. Tell me how I can do it. Tell me what we need to do. I don't know what else to do. The people in the neighborhood are getting frustrated. We came to you about an issue about cats. I got so many cats in this neighborhood that it can be like that, gentlemen. I'm going to take it into my own hands. I'm going to start getting rid of the cats myself. It's ridiculous. My house smells like a litter box, like a pure litter box. What can we do? We need the answers. We can come and ask you people over and over again, but nobody gives us the answers. Nobody helps us. Nobody tells us what to do.
Mr. Johnson, when I was a humane officer, I spoke many a time, and actually, there's no law for cats in Trumbull County. What you have to do is call the health department, which is done in Trumbull County, They're aware of the cat issue, but we, myself and my director at the time, try to go to the county to get a law enforced, which is laws in the state of Ohio, the cities, and throughout the country about cats. Nobody wants to see me hear about it. It's sad to say, I have my opinions on it. At that time, I was told to keep my mouth shut about it. But I feel cats should be treated as dogs, licensed, and,
Kept on your property. If you want the animal, you should keep it
on
on your property. You should take
There's laws in the state, there's a couple of cities, I have the ordinances at home, and the state that enforces that law. But, like I said, we can go over the cat issue all over and over and over again, but there is no cat laws for the city of Niles or Trumbull County, or Mahoning County. It's a problem, and then you got these cats with people too, that people are afraid of, which I don't know why they're afraid of. As soon as they see them, they're worried about different things, but they, they gotta realize there's a problem with cats. So,
I have to clean my property every day.
I understand it.
That's not my biggest issue, though. My biggest
Chuck, can I
issue
interrupt you
is
for 1
the fact
second?
that The neighborhood that it's on, if we don't have ordinances to tell these people that lease these properties, that rent these properties, that they have to take care of, what good are the ordinances?
Chuck, we have ordinances. We have plenty of them. The issue would be either enforcement, which is what I wanted to ask Mr. Crowley about, or the judicial branch when charges are filed. I don't want to get in a fight with the courts. But where are we in terms of the Hyde neighborhood, Jeff, relative to what Chuck's sharing with us?
I'm losing good neighbors in my neighborhood every day. They're selling their properties and moving out because of the simple fact they can't take what they have living next door. They can't take the junk cars in the driveway. They can't take the garbage that piles up because they don't pay the garbage bill.
Where are we relative to broken windows and dilapidated properties?
I could say we're making progress, Bob, but it's slow. We tore down a house on Hyde, I had 2 people on Sayers in court. Progress is slow. You write people up, give them 30 days, take them into court, they get fined, they plead guilty, and I start all over again. And we picked up a couple of houses on Vine Street. Progress is slow. I'm not happy about it. I appreciate you coming here, we met, we went on a tour for hours. It's exactly right, there's problems there. The progress is slow, some of them aren't even being lived in. They're vacant homes, with out-of-town owners.
I understand that Mr. Crowley's kind of basically new to this. How long have I been coming here? Steve, how long have I been coming here?
We had a over and one of those homes that went on for years.
The one house that we complained about, the Pruski house. Somebody finally bought the Pruski house, is doing something with it. They tore down the fence and they're starting to fix up the property. Now they leave it open. Anything can go in there, any animal, any kid, anybody can go in that house. It's not secure.
You aware of this? We can't and we cannot force someone to secure a property?
I thought I heard you say fence.
Well, they
You said
tore the
it's
fence
open.
down, but they're actually leaving the windows open and the house isn't secure. I mean, it's not secure. Any kid in the neighborhood can go in there, and that house, last time I was anywhere near it, isn't fit for anybody to live.
I would agree. I tried to get it tore down. It would not donate, the bank would not donate the property to the land bank was ready to tear it down. The bank would not do it, they sold it for $6,000. How do I fight? I gave the name of the land bank, it's condemned. Can't move in until they all go through the condemned process.
How many charges do we file in a month against owner-occupied and non-owner-occupied residents?
I'd have to get you the number, Bobby, but I got a drawer full of people in court right now. We probably filed 6 or 7 just this week already. You get to the point to file someone in court, because most of our charges are just fines. Most of our charges are minor misdemeanors. There's no jail sentence, it's fine.
Are we able to adjust the penalties in our ordinances?
We have to amend our ordinance, change the penalty, but as
Well,
of now, they are fine.
I would respectfully ask that, I think that Mr. Papoulis, and maybe Mr. Pisano's committee, Terry, I'd like you to review those ordinances. I imagine Tony and Jeff, you all will be involved with this as well. One of you can reach out to Chuck and keep him informed as to the progress relative to the review of the penalty aspects, because you're right, they pay the fine and they go away. We've had one on Robbins Avenue for how many years, Jeff?
He'll be in court here again shortly.
That's going on for
Those fines don't
10 years.
increase the more times you're brought to court, you don't pay one over and over, like a speeding ticket.
It could be increased to $100 per day, but if they don't have the money to fix it up, and they find $1,500, they're not paying. You know what I mean? It's just
It's back to
square one, and there's no threat of them going to jail, so. And to do a write-up properly with certified mail and everything, it takes months to do, to get them into court, and they plead guilty, and they don't pay the fine. It's just a vicious cycle. And once they plead guilty, Jeff has to start the process and give them a notice requiring another 30 days to correct the problem before you can file criminal.
Well, we have the codes for building and property maintenance. We have nuisance codes. You know, we have plenty of laws on the books. Plenty. We spent hundreds of hours years ago, Steve,
Yes, we did.
redoing all of these
Therefore,
ordinances.
why we can't go a little
So-
more quickly with
Ed, you were on council then, so were you, Tom.
Yeah. Can we go after the landlord?
Yes, we can go after the owner or occupant of the property.
Why don't we go after the landlord?
We do.
And we don't get anywhere with it?
Well, they are misdemeanor criminal offenses, so if a landlord lives outside of the state of Ohio,
Can you change the law?
we can't make them come back.
Terry, can you review this and,
Jeff and I have talked about many.
All right.
I think the judge needs to make them live in it. They don't feel whole.
well, we don't wanna get in we do not wanna get in a disagreement with the judicial branch of government. We have to have respect for the individual that occupies his chair during the day.
I mean, the most
So-
recent example is the owner lives in New Jersey. You file a misdemeanor charge against him. That's it. Unless he comes to Ohio and gets arrested, there's nothing we can do to that guy. We can't extradite him from out of state on misdemeanor. So that's the thing between rock and hard. It's a tough spot. We need to figure out ways to go after them and really, like, Jeff points out, get ways to tear these houses.
Yeah.
Is there a way that, like, an out-of-state owner, that you can take their ability to rent the house away?
I'll look at, I'll look at ways of revoking their right to operating in Ohio. If they have, in Niles, if they have criminal charges pending, we could consider revoking their occupancy permits. If they, if they have a.
Some of them never got it registered to begin with.
Right, we stumbled on a house.
Right, so it's not registered, they don't have a dwelling permit.
Bye. Go review the penalties and what we're permitted to do.
Right.
Meet with the two committee chairs. Let's maybe put some more teeth in the penalty aspects and make sure we keep Chuck up to date on the progress of that. I would assume by October-ish that we could have that remedied.
I'm all for it.
So,
I appreciate it. And part of that issue is the laws changed a lot. Jeff revealed, talked about these real estate investment trusts, which weren't around when these laws were, when our ordinances were effective. The laws have changed and our ordinances haven't kept up.
sure. Well, we'll be in touch, Chuck, and I see you enough just,
I have one more question, and it'll go to the chief. We have basically two houses on my block. It's either motorcycles or it's, as far as dirt bikes and or four-wheelers. Roughly about the same time of day, one kid comes out with a bike up and down the street. There's a lot of little kids in the neighborhood. One of these days, one of those little kids is gonna walk out. One of my neighbors made a phone call to the police department about this. That night, his garage was broken into, and there were some real nasty messages left on his front walk. We assume that these people have a scam. How do I get around this to get these guys, because as soon as someone calls on them, the bikes are gone, they put them away.
You can ask the special people on the radio to have the officer call in. That's very common. They have issues with people having these scanners. Have loud music. They'll have a scanner and they'll have a party, they'll hear the call go out, they'll turn it down, the officer gets there, it's quiet. He leaves, crank it right back up. So if we have that issue, what we do is advise people to ask the dispatcher that there's an issue with the scanner, that the, person doesn't know coming, so, needs to go off the radio, have the officer call in, if chief asks you to do that.
So just let this guy know that I feel they have a scanner and let them call someone on the cell phone.
I ask you to tell them that, have the officer call in, respond to the call. They have computers in the car, they can still communicate with the dispatcher without having to go over the radio.
Thank you.
thanks, Chuck. Anyone else? Hey, Beth?
Beth Francis, 358 West Park. I just want to say that my grandkids and I were going for a walk, and we went to Murphy Park, and some residents left a bunch of garbage at the park, and I did call Cindy with the Niles Park, and about 10-15 minutes, we walked by, and she did have the park in the city clean it back up, so I just wanted to commend her and the park department for going back and clean it back up in that amount of time.
Great.
So I just wanted to thank them and for, unfortunately, residents of the city of Niles doing it, and but commending the park department and Cindy for getting right on it, so it wasn't left like that.
Sure.
That's
Thanks.
all I want to say.
Thanks, Pat. Anyone else? George? Name and address for the record?
George Curtis, 1206 Mason Street, Niles. That's on Facebook, is that on YouTube?
I think it is.
A couple months ago, when the other service driver was in, you had talked about the overtime. You wanted to document it overtime, you said you'd bring it in. You also asked the Lake Department to bring it in, they both agreed. I don't really think it's even, I don't think they did that yet. But, and why I'm asking is, 2 employees.
We're not gonna discuss personnel. We're not gonna
Okay.
discuss personnel. We
Can I
cannot
just
discuss
say-
personnel.
Okay, here's the
Meeting.
overtime. They can't document it, I'm getting it.
All I can tell you regarding, payroll and time is the auditor's office, as the, branch of government,
I know.
they are the ones that ensure what's turned in based on, payroll sign-in sheets and whatnot. I also want to be clear on this overtime. Those are reported to us. I'm also on the fiscal commission,
I'm sure they are.
and we get those reports. Additionally, we have had the auditors in this city since 2011. When Mr. Papoulos and I called them to review history. So we have had every aspect of our government looked at every which way but Sunday. So we've asked them to do that, George. So,
They can only go by what's on paper, right?
oh no, George, I want to answer these questions because this stuff perseverates in this community and there's undercurrents. And, you know, the facts are facts.
That's right. They're not working. They're not making this overtime.
We have had those investigators do personal interviews. We've had the Attorney General's office with state prosecutors here. We have had the state auditors here with investigators. We have Julian and Grube here with auditors. We have auditors looking at the billing office. We have auditors looking at this. When we become aware of something, we report and we ask it to be investigated. I can only have faith that those people that are charged with those duties are performing them in conformity to law. Because I can assure you, I perform my duties in conformity to law.
I'm not
So,
saying you don't. I'm not saying you don't.
the bit about overtime, and there was a concern about overtime, how it went way up and down. We all agreed with that. We agreed with,
Nobody looked into
we
it.
most certainly did.
And?
Well, this body here said no more overtime. They wanted
I understand
reports.
that.
They asked for reports.
You didn't look into the other overtime from last year, though.
The fiscal commissions looked at overtime. The
I
auditors, George, we have an audit going on right now.
understand
They look
all
at this.
that. I understand all that, Mr. Marino. I do.
Well, short of
It's
this,
not on here. Somebody's got to do something. $38,000 in overtime, and it's not nowhere documented?
well, if they got paid for it, it has to be documented somewhere.
Here's 2016, all the overtime from 3 departments. They're not in there.
Well, then, I don't know how to respond to that. I'm not the individual that provided those records. All I can tell you, unequivocally, is when we become aware of something, it is reported to agencies.
I know all that. I know. I know. You put everything about it, book. I know all that. I know that. And I believe you. You're the only one I believe here.
Well,
Believe me. Okay?
everyone, these folks serving over here, they're doing what's right and just as well. When this started, George, we met with the auditors, and I'm going to share something that I shouldn't, but I'm going to. When we met with the auditors the first time we became aware of something, this body was unequivocal with the investigators sitting in the room. They told them, you would have ripped this city apart. Mr. Merlo, is that correct? There were other choice words used that I choose not to share with all of you. But I can assure you, this body, and these two, John there was no equivocation in what we're saying. You follow the breadcrumbs wherever they go. And whatever, and they did. That's their job. I mean, that's not our job. They conducted the investigation, so.
So just because they don't find nothing, it's all said and done. Everything's fine.
That's what they're charged with doing, George. That's what the state
I
investigates.
understand that, but what about you guys? If you see somebody making $38,000 in overtime, it's not documented.
When they
Because
became,
they
well,
didn't see it
we're gonna
like that.
wrap this up with this is the final thought on this.
That's fine, you were bringing it up. mean,
No, I am, well,
brought it to all
but
this.
I appreciate this respectful dialogue. I appreciate it. I appreciate the respectful dialogue and the non-argumentative dialogue.
I'm being nice.
Yes, and I appreciate that. What happens when we became aware of the overtime, we asked for it to be looked at. Why was it occurring? Water line breaks, this, that, the other thing was all shared in these meetings. Then it was made abundantly clear by these 7 folks over here. That's going to stop, and we want to know why overtime's occurring, who's authorizing it, and to stop it.
I understand.
So, when they became aware, it wasn't like they were like whirling dervishes, do. They said stop. When they become aware of stuff, they take action.
They said stop, and then went back to really looking.
Well, we can only rely on what we're told by the investigators. Now, George, I have faith in that man sitting over there, our city auditor. I have faith in him.
So do I.
And
I'm not blaming
I
him at all
trust
for the
him,
overtime.
and when he shares information with me, it's as good as gold. So, unless you have another question,
Yes, I do, about the parks.
okay?
You were at the park board meeting when I was talking to Ray about the budget. And I said it was about 400,000, and he said, no way, it's like 380. I got a report from the auditor, April 13th, 2017, that the park budget went up $26,000 to $424,000 for the park budget. Is that correct? Well, that is correct. $424,000, they got an extra $26,000 to cut grass. And the park looks, how can you justify taking $126,000 off the police department budget to give the park an extra $26,000?
In terms of Mr. Harper, I'm going to defend him.
Well, I have nothing bad, I mean,
He's brand new.
yes, I understand that.
He's brand
I understand
new,
that.
and he is doing a
Yes,
hell of a job for
did I
this
say
community.
anything? I just said that.
So, in terms of his capacity and trying to understand, we'll give him the benefit of the
I have nothing bad
doubt.
to say about him, I'm static.
Hey, John?
The budget that you got from me was prior to this body reducing appropriations of the labor. So it has been, since that drastically reduced.
The park budget,
Yes.
how's that labor forward?
It's going to be another thing that we're going to discuss.
No, we're
Very near grass is cut.
When I said that,
Cemetery.
And to answer your question, George, that has been reduced by this body when it affects the labor pool, since you have that information.
Okay.
all right, last question,
Jeff, what's the cost of tear a house?
over here.
2,000, 4,000? $4,000, okay.
Yes, but it's probably 7,000 to 8,000.
Okay,
Over here.
30,000 went to the chamber, could have tore the house down. $12,000 to a safety director because he didn't want to show up for meetings to sign the signature. 18,000 in a year for weed control. For weed control, you know how many houses we could have tore down with that? And you trust these people with the money and these people with the money? When do we say enough? You know, I'm all for making, ideas and losing money on things that don't work. I'm okay with that. But when do you say enough is enough is enough? You spent $1 million at City Hall.
Hey,
It's City Hall. And now you gotta have, what, 700,000 to fix all this?
all I can tell you regarding expenditures and finances regarding this city, George, it's all done in public.
I know, I'm
There-
at the meetings, I see it, I hear it.
And we encourage active participation with our citizens, and we listen to everything you have to say, and we make the best decisions we can with the information we have at the time to keep municipal government operating. Because when you reduce it to the ridiculous, we have to keep the government operating. So,
You know, and believe me, I respect you, believe me, I tell you that over and over again, I respect you,
well,
sitting up there, but let me tell you something. You cannot agree with what's going on with the way this
well,
money's being spent.
and I can also tell you that when we don't agree, you can either say yes or no, and I voted no against the recovery plan, and other people have too. So, over the course of the recovery. So we agree to disagree, but not be disagreeable with this body, which is why I enjoy working with them. and I respect
I'm
them.
not saying that.
So,
Can I just ask Mr. Law Director one thing?
Is there anything legally we could possibly do to have these people, have the mayor removed?
Not my job to give you.
There's nothing legally we could do.
George,
My job is to give legal
That was a
advice.
question.
I'm being nice.
I know, that's it, George, this is it. All right,
My
that's
job,
it.
my job is not to give legal advice to citizens now, my job is to
Yeah.
give legal advice to the city now.
Thanks, George. Anyone else? Tom? You all right?
Pardon me?
You all right? I thought he said something to you. He did? All right.
Sherry Smith, 1342 Robbins Avenue, Niles, Ohio. I just wanted an update on the RFP for the meter install and the other analysis of what rate, what went on with that.
We got them back, and I reached out to council to ask for a utility meeting, whenever they'll schedule to publicly go over that.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Sherry. Anyone else? Anyone else? In the opinion of the chair, there being none, committee reports? There being no committee reports, will the clerk please present tonight's legislation?
Draft number 78-17 to be brought to the floor for the first time, an ordinance amending codified ordinance number 191.081 by retroactively adjusting the credit to residents for municipal income taxes paid to another municipality and declaring an emergency.
Move to suspend. Second.
Moved by Steffi, seconded by Paplas. Questions or comments? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Paplas?
Yes.
Mr. Lastic?
Yes.
Mr. McNaughton?
Yes.
Mr. Steffi?
Yes.
Ms. Marquez?
Yes.
Mr. McKevitt?
Yes.
Mr. Pizzano? 7 yeas, 0 nays.
Move to adopt. Second.
Moved by Steffi, seconded by Paplas for adoption. Questions or comments? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Paplas?
Yes.
Mr. Lastic?
Yes.
Mr. McNaughton?
Yes.
Mr. Steffi?
Yes.
Ms. Marquez? Mr. McKevitt?
Yes.
Mr. Pizzano? 7 yeas, 0 nays.
78-17 has been adopted under suspension of rules. Will the clerk please present the next draft?
Draft number 79-17 to be brought to the floor for the first time, a resolution authorizing the safety director to prepare and submit an application and enter into agreements for grant money to assist for wages and fuel to target opiate locations and declaring an emergency.
Second.
Moved by Pizzano, seconded by Paplas for suspension. Questions or comments? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Paplas?
Yes.
Mr. Lastic?
Yes.
Mr. McNaughton?
Yes.
Mr. Steffi?
Yes.
Ms. Marquez?
Yes.
Mr. McKevitt?
Yes.
Mr. Pizzano? 7 yeas, 0 nays.
Move to adopt.
Moved by Pizzano, seconded by Lastic for adoption. Questions or comments? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Paplas?
Yes.
Mr. Lastic?
Yes.
Mr. McNaughton?
Yes.
Mr. Steffi?
Yes.
Ms. Marquez?
Yes.
Mr. McKevitt?
Yes.
Mr. Pizzano?
Yes.
7 yeas, 0 nays.
Draft has been adopted under suspension of rules. The clerk please present the next draft.
Draft number 80-17 to be brought to the floor for the first time, a resolution in accordance with the city's hiring policy declaring that the positions of 2 operators in the wastewater treatment plant remain necessary and can be filled, and declaring an emergency.
Take a move to suspend.
Second.
Moved by McNaughton, seconded by Paplas. Questions or comments? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Paplas?
Yes.
Mr. Lastic?
Yes.
Mr. McNaughton?
Yes.
Mr. Steffi?
Yes.
Ms. Marquez?
Yes.
Mr. McKevitt?
Yes.
Mr. Pizzano?
Yes.
7 yeas, 0 nays.
To adopt. Second.
Moved by McNaughton, seconded by Paplas. Questions or comments? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Paplas?
Yes.
Mr. Lastic?
Yes.
Mr. McNaughton?
Yes.
Mr. Steffi?
Yes.
Ms. Marquez?
Yes.
Mr. McKevitt?
Yes.
Mr. Pizzano?
Yes.
7 yeas, 0 nays.
Draft has been adopted under suspension of rules. Clerk, please present the next draft.
Draft number 81-17 to be brought to the floor for the first time, an ordinance authorizing the service director and safety director to issue a request for proposals for roof and brick repair needs for several city-owned buildings and structures and declaring an emergency.
Move to suspend. Second.
Moved by Steffi, seconded by Minkevich. Questions or comments?
Yes, I have a question on that. On the buildings, the way they're listed, as the Waldo Park maintenance buildings, are these 3 going to override the fire department and city service company?
No, this is just to get a request for proposal. It's not going to contract. We just want to know what we're going up against.
So it would be all,
The
priority, it's still gonna be what Mr. Sakanik has put in the 2 to 6 month budget.
Just want to see the numbers. Yeah, get a better idea.
Any, good. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Papples?
Yes.
Mr. Lastic?
Yes.
Mr. McNaughton?
Yes.
Mr. Stuckey?
Yes.
Ms. Marquez?
Yes.
Mr. McCavish?
Yes.
Mr. Pazano?
Yes.
7 yeas, 0 nays.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Moved by Steffi, seconded by Paplas for adoption. Questions or comments? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Papples?
Yes.
Mr. Lastic?
Yes.
Mr. McNaughton?
Yes.
Mr. Stuckey?
Yes.
Ms. Marquez? Mr. McCavish?
Yes.
Mr. Pazano?
Yes.
7 yeas, 0 nays.
Draft has been adopted under suspension of rules. Clerk, please present the next draft.
Draft number 82-17 to be brought to the floor for the first time, in ordinance amending ordinance number 19-10, section 3, providing certain benefits for non-union full-time employees and declaring an emergency.
Move to suspend. Second.
Moved by Paplas, seconded by Lastic for suspension. Questions or comments? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Papples?
Yes.
Mr. Lastic?
Yes.
Mr. McNaughton?
Yes.
Mr. Stuckey?
Yes.
Ms. Marquez? Mr. McCavish?
Yes.
Mr. Pazano?
Yes.
7 yeas, 0 nays.
Move for adoption.
Moved by Paplas, seconded by Steffi for adoption. Questions or comments? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Papples?
Yes.
Mr. Lastic?
Yes.
Mr. McNaughton?
Yes.
Mr. Stuckey?
Yes.
Ms. Marquez? Mr. McCavish?
Yes.
Mr. Pazano?
Yes.
7 yeas, 0 nays.
Draft has been adopted under suspension of rules. Please present the next draft.
Draft number 83-17 to be brought to the floor for the first time, a resolution approving the revised hiring policy and declaring an emergency.
Move for suspension. Second.
Moved by Steffi, seconded by Paplas for suspension. Questions or comments? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Papples?
Yes.
Mr. Lastic?
Yes.
Mr. McNaughton?
Yes.
Mr. Stuckey?
Yes.
Ms. Marquez? Mr. McCavish?
Yes.
Mr. Pazano?
Yes.
7 yeas, 0 nays.
Move for adoption.
Second.
Moved by Paplas, seconded by Steffi for adoption. Questions or comments? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Papples?
Yes.
Mr. Lastic?
Yes.
Mr. McNaughton?
Yes.
Mr. Stuckey?
Yes.
Ms. Marquez? Mr. McCavish?
Yes.
Mr. Pazano? 7 yeas, 0 nays.
Draft has been adopted under suspension of rules. The clerk, please present the next draft.
Draft number 84-17 to be brought to the floor for the first time, a resolution authorizing the mayor and safety service director to negotiate and enter into contracts for professional services for the purpose of repair, maintenance, and management of water storage tanks and declaring an emergency.
Move to suspend.
But before we do that, I need a motion to amend the ordinance to read the service director because the positions have been split. The ordinance has already been adjusted by our law director.
I'll make that motion. Second.
Moved by Paplas, seconded by Lastic. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now, Mr. McNaughton.
Second.
Moved by McNaughton, seconded by Paplas for suspension. Questions or comments? Call the roll.
Mr. Papples?
Yes.
Mr. Lastic?
Yes.
Mr. McNaughton?
Yes.
Mr. Stuckey?
Yes.
Ms. Marquez? Mr. McCavish? Mr. Pazano? 7 yeas, 0 nays.
Second.
Moved by McNaughton, seconded by Paplas for adoption. Questions or comments? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Papples?
Yes.
Mr. Lastic?
Yes.
Mr. McNaughton?
Yes.
Mr. Stuckey?
Yes.
Ms. Marquez? Mr. McCavish?
Yes.
Mr. Pazano? 7 yeas, 0 nays.
Draft has been adopted under suspension of rules. Clerk, please present the next draft.
Draft number 85-17 to be brought to the floor for the first time, a resolution authorizing the sale by internet auction of certain obsolete items no longer needed for any municipal purpose by the city and declaring an emergency.
Move to suspend.
Moved by Paplas, seconded by Pazano for suspension. Questions or comments?
Yes, I have a question on this. If this is going to drug deals again, for the city's, vehicles or whatever we may have, afterwards, we know there won't be, if I approach on it, there's not, as the word used to be, a cut deal, they know what they're getting. When we have to report back on who purchased each item, it was that.
Well, if we sell a car, we're gonna know who the sold to, because we have to transfer the title. So we sell any vehicle. As far as cut deals and that, guys, this is a bidding website, it's public auctions.
Okay,
We
it's
get-
open for anybody.
It's open for anybody, so we get whatever the auction bears is what we get. So the reason we have to pass this is we have to do this on a yearly basis in order to avoid the need to advertise 3 times in the newspaper and those types of things. So every year we are required to pass the auction. But it is a public auction site, we're getting the best bid.
For suspension, call the roll, please.
Mr. Papples?
Yes.
Mr. Lastic?
Yes.
Mr. McNaughton?
Yes.
Mr. Steffi?
Yes.
Ms. Marquez?
Yes.
Mr. McCovich?
Yes.
Mr. Pizzano?
Yes.
7 yeas, 0 nays.
Moved by Pizzano, seconded by Papples for adoption. Questions or comments? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Papples?
Yes.
Mr. Lastic?
Yes.
Mr. McNaughton?
Yes.
Mr. Steffi?
Yes.
Ms. Marquez?
Yes.
Mr. McCovich?
Yes.
Mr. Pizzano? 7 yeas, 0 nays.
It's been adopted under suspension rules. The clerk, please present the next draft.
Draft number 86-17 to be brought to the floor for the first time, a resolution authorizing the sale by internet auction of certain obsolete vehicles no longer needed for any municipal purpose by the city and declaring an emergency.
Move suspension. Second.
Moved by Papples, seconded by Lastic for suspension. Questions or comments? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Papples?
Yes.
Mr. Lastic?
Yes.
Mr. McNaughton?
Yes.
Mr. Steffi?
Yes.
Ms. Marquez?
Yes.
Mr. McCovich? Mr. Pizzano? 7 yeas, 0 nays.
Moved by Papples, seconded by Pizzano for adoption. Questions or comments? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Papples?
Yes.
Mr. Lastic?
Yes.
Mr. McNaughton?
Yes.
Mr. Steffi?
Yes.
Ms. Marquez? Mr. McCovich?
Yes.
Mr. Pizzano?
Yes.
7 yeas, 0 nays.
Draft has been adopted under suspension of the rules. The clerk, please present the next draft.
Draft number 87-17 to be brought to the floor for the first time, a resolution approving appropriations and a transfer of funds to the fire department equipment purchases account and declaring an emergency.
Move for suspension.
Second.
Moved by Steffi, seconded by Papples for suspension. Questions or comments?
What's this for, Chief?
It's, purchase mattresses, it's a grant from Sam's Club we applied for. We received $1,000.
Any others? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Papples?
Yes.
Mr. Lastic?
Yes.
Mr. McNaughton?
Yes.
Mr. Steffi?
Yes.
Ms. Marquez?
Yes.
Mr. McCovich?
Yes.
Mr. Pizzano?
Yes.
7 yeas, 0 nays.
Move for adoption.
Second.
Moved by Papples, seconded by Lastic for adoption. Questions or comments? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Papples?
Yes.
Mr. Lastic?
Yes.
Ms. McNaughton?
Yes.
Mr. Steffi?
Yes.
Ms. Marquez?
Yes.
Mr. McCovich?
Yes.
Mr. Pizzano?
Yes.
7 yeas, 0 nays.
Draft 87-17 has been adopted under suspension rules. The clerk, please present the next draft.
Draft number 88-17 to be brought to the floor for the first time, a resolution authorizing the safety director to prepare and submit an application and enter into agreements for grant monies to assist in the hiring of a new police officer and declaring an emergency.
Move for suspension.
Moved by Pizzano, seconded by Marquez for suspension. Questions or comments?
Thanks, Chief, for explaining that.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Papples?
Yes.
Mr. Lastic?
Yes.
Mr. McNaughton?
Yes.
Mr. Steffi?
Yes.
Ms. Marquez?
Yes.
Mr. McCovich?
No.
Mr. Pizzano?
Yes.
6 yeas, 1 nay.
Move for adoption.
Second.
Moved by Papples, seconded by Lastic for adoption. Questions or comments? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Papples?
Yes.
Mr. Lastic?
Yes.
Mr. McNaughton?
Yes.
Mr. Steffi?
Yes.
Ms. Marquez?
Yes.
Mr. McCovich? Mr. Pizzano?
Yes.
6 yeas, 1 nay.
Draft has been adopted under suspension rules. The clerk, please present the next draft.
Draft number 89-17 to be brought to the floor for the first time, an ordinance authorizing the service director to advertise for a request for proposals for the leasing and maintenance of copy machines and declaring an emergency.
What this is just our current contract is expired, and, we go out for RFP, hope to get a better price on our putting in projects.
Second.
Suspension by Minkiewicz, seconded by Steffi. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Papples? Paplas?
Yes.
Mr. Lastic? Mr. McNaughton?
Yes.
Mr. Steffi?
Yes.
Ms. Marquez?
Yes.
Mr. McCovich?
Yes.
Mr. Pizzano? 7 yeas, 0 nays.
Move for adoption.
Moved by Paplas, seconded by Lastic for adoption. Questions or comments? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Paplas?
Yes.
Mr. Lastic?
Yes.
Mr. McNaughton?
Yes.
Mr. Steffi?
Yes.
Ms. Marquez?
Yes.
Mr. McCovich?
Yes.
Mr. Pizzano? 7 yeas, 0 nays.
Draft has been adopted under suspension rules. The clerk, please present the next draft.
Draft number 90-17 to be brought to the floor for the first time, an ordinance retroactively authorizing the competitive bidding process and authorizing the service director to enter into contract for the street resurfacing program and declaring an emergency.
Second.
Moved by Lastic, seconded by Paplas for suspension. Questions or comments? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Paplas?
Yes.
Mr. Lastic?
Yes.
Mr. McNaughton?
Yes.
Mr. Steffi?
Yes.
Ms. Marquez?
Yes.
Mr. McCovich?
Yes.
Mr. Pizzano?
Yes.
7 yeas, 0 nays.
Move for adoption.
Second.
Moved by Paplas, seconded by Lastic for adoption. Questions or comments? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Paplas?
Yes.
Mr. Lastic?
Yes.
Mr. McNaughton?
Yes.
Mr. Steffi?
Yes.
Ms. Marquez? Mr. McCovich?
Yes.
Mr. Pizzano? 7 yeas, 0 nays.
Draft has been adopted under suspension of rules. Clerk, please present the last draft.
Draft number 91-17 to be brought to the floor for the first time, a resolution for the purpose of recommending and endorsing Sona Health LLC in granting of their application through the Ohio Department of Commerce in the construction of state-of-the-art cultivation and growing facilities to be located within the city of Niles, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
Move to suspend.
Second.
Moved by McNaughton, seconded by Minkiewicz for suspension. Questions or comments? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Paplas?
Yes.
Mr. Lastic?
No.
Mr. McNaughton?
Yes.
Mr. Steffi?
Yes.
Ms. Marquez?
Yes.
Mr. McCovich?
Yes.
Mr. Pizzano?
Yes.
6 yeas, 1 nay.
The rules are suspended. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved by McNaughton, seconded by Steffi for adoption. Questions or comments? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Paplas?
Yes.
Mr. Lastic?
No.
Mr. McNaughton?
Yes.
Mr. Steffi?
Yes.
Ms. Marquez?
Yes.
Mr. McCovich?
Yes.
Mr. Pizzano? 6 yeas, 1 nay.
Draft 91-17 has been adopted under suspension of rules. That concludes tonight's legislation. The next order of business miscellaneous remarks. I have none. Mayor?
Yes, I have 2 items. Gentlemen, we need your input and your help. We sat through the finance meeting as far as the plan coming up. The fiscal commission wants a plan by next month. We had ideas. We thought it was moving along, but it did not come in tonight's ordinances. So if you have ideas, please give it to us so we can get this thing going. Number 2, Mr. Geo, if you really want to get rid of the mayor, you have a way of doing it. In 2 years, you can...
George, you can't say a word.
I'm talking to you.
Not a word. George?
You can put your name in
Chief.
and run for mayor.
Says a word. Remove him.
That's the way to do it. Thank you.
Remove him. Chief, he cannot speak. He has to go. Chris, you can't do anything either. No, I don't want any more remarks from the audience. Not a peep, not a sound, nothing. From anyone.
That's all. Thank you.
Mr. Law Director?
I just want to remind council that we have a public records, open meeting, public records retention law seminar set for July 11th, 10 a.m. to 1:15 p.m. at Niles High School. You'll all receive an email. It's put on by the Ohio Auditor's Office. It'll be done so that we all know where we are and we can comply with the laws of Ohio. So I would encourage you all to attend. We have received about 45 other people who are attending from throughout Trumbull County. So it will be well attended, and I think it'll be well worth your while. Thank you. That's all.
Thanks for organizing that, Terry, and I echo his comments about attending. It is well worth your time. Mr. Safety Director?
No comment.
Chief? Chief?
Yeah, I just want to let council know, we did start last week,
Sorry, Chief.
question of the hydrants. We should be done hopefully in the next couple of weeks, weather cooperating. As soon as we get the final numbers, I'll get a report.
Chief, has there been any problems with the measure testing? Has there been anything that they can't get them off, so if there is a fire or anything like that?
Some of the caps, there are some other stuff that have changed since we did it last. All that is documented. Some of the easy stuff that the water department can do, like they did the last time, just give them a list, let them go out and get the caps off. They have the tools, instead of, water department breaking our tools, let them go heat them up and use their tools.
That's the spirit.
I don't know how many tools I've been
That's the spirit, Chief. Not out of my budget. That's the bottom line, not out of my budget. I'm sorry, Steve, go ahead. Oh, Frank, go ahead. Are you sure? In the spirit of cooperation. Kevin, anything? Mr. Crowley? Mr. Vigorito?
I just wanted to ask for a safety meeting. We found some glitches in the temporary sign ordinance that need to, be addressed.
Yeah, Mr. Brigadier, I was gonna set one up on the time for the,
Mr. Catanzarite?
Just real briefly to tag on the chief, as we flush the hydrants, I think everybody remembers, there's a chance we get some groundwater come through the rest of the system. So we apologize for that, but it's part of the whole system. Other than that, it sounds good.
Thank you. Mr. Auditor?
Make everyone aware, the 2016 audit, field work has been completed through. This is probably the first time in a while that the city has filed by the June 30th deadline. There's been an exit conference scheduled for city council and the administration with the auditor, which is a non-public meeting. It's going to be called by the auditors, and that will be on June 14th.
And you just sent a letter out to the audit committee members. In addition to council, the audit committee members of your subcommittee will participate in that meeting. That's one of the reasons that they were appointed. So, Sherry, we were telling you, that's what that's about. So, Nikki, we'll have to get a letter to them, look at the thing and
So,
get something
4
out.
o'clock next Wednesday at the council meeting.
So,
There's a roundtable immediately after.
Barry, you'll have to run that meeting. I have another commitment next Wednesday, work related. Thanks. Staff, Mr. Newbrown,
No comment, Mr. President.
Mr. Papel?
I, will not be able to make the meeting Monday because I have to go to some other meetings. But, as usual, those who have been keeping me posted on the Christmas meetings, I appreciate those contacts. I very much want to be kept abreast of all that. I want to make a motion to change our summer schedule. So because of vacations on the part of some of us here, so that we have our next council meeting on July 19th. I think, in talking to everybody, we'll all be here for that. And the following meeting, August 9th. And this is, something we've routinely done in the summer for years. Of course, everyone knows that if, we need special meetings, it will be called, those of us who are in town.
So, this would be our only meeting in June, and then the next meeting would be, I was trying to get my phone, July 9th
In August.
and August 9th. Okay.
We're only having one this month?
Yes.
That's the motion, is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Questions or comments on the summer schedule?
So for the second one in June, are that many people not gonna be here?
There are two not gonna be here for the next meeting, I believe, so no business could be conducted. They're on vacation.
But if we need something sooner than after special meeting, call that.
We can schedule special council meetings. You're gonna have to have them anyway, because eventually, the administration's gonna have to present a plan to you to vote on. So, so the summer schedule would be July 19th and August 9th. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is your summer schedule, barring the special meeting notice, which or you can call, committees can call, and the administration can call. Barry, you, or Steve, you're gonna have to run the August 9th meeting. I'm away at our summer conference. So.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I also, want to bring to the attention of the administration, I've talked to Andy Dancher about this. There is a serious problem with, I believe it's a stormwater, sewer line that is collapsing or coming apart in the backyards of, some residents on Stafford Street. And, I think that it's going to call for an engineer to come in and take a look at this. And, from past experience, namely on Bonnie Bray, where we, in time, had to replace all of that several years ago, there's going to be some work involved here. So, Mr. Reddy, I'm going to ask that you get together with Andy tomorrow, late afternoon. We can go over there and look at it.
Yeah, that's not a problem. I think I've heard, some of it, maybe even on the other side. I know we have some problems over on Hillcrest, so it's probably everything following that ravine on both sides.
Okay. All right, good. Thank you. I don't have any other comments.
Ed, can you, attach or keep me informed via email about that? This is the first I've heard from
I was there this morning. I have yet to speak with Andy about any other issues, but I know of one on Hillcrest, so I'm imagining whatever we're gonna do is gonna be on both sides there. Just had this quick conversation here.
Okay, we'll keep you updated.
Steve, can you join us tomorrow afternoon?
Let me know the time.
Okay.
Good.
Yes, that's it, thank you.
Mr. McDonald?
Thank you, Mr. President. I asked my colleagues, Mr. Stredney has requested a utility meeting to be called next week. I will not be here, vacation out of state, so whatever works for you folks, please let me know if you think it's good.
I guess, Mr. McNaught, I didn't realize we had a roundtable scheduled for Wednesday at 5. So if you don't want to schedule another meeting, you guys.
They can conduct that here. You can discuss it here at the round table. Mm-hmm. John, what time are the state auditor, or the state auditors? 4. So at 5, you conduct your business. You're not gonna be on the 14th either, Steve? Next Wednesday? I can't remember what you said you're not gonna make one of these meetings.
I'll be on the 14th.
Okay, you're gonna have to run the meeting for me.
Special meeting?
It's the round table.
Oh, okay.
If not, Barry,
That's on Wednesday, right?
next Wednesday. 4 state auditors, 5 is round table.
Okay.
Scratch everything I said. Thank you.
Ed, can you do me a favor? Make sure that, you coordinate with Steve on agenda items for that round table, if you don't mind.
Yeah, we just have 2.
Okay, just make sure he's aware so that there's some kind of semblance of an agenda. Thank you, I appreciate you doing that.
And I would also like to remind my colleagues and remind the public on Monday night, June 26th, 7 o'clock at the high school, the auditorium, as a perfect segue from what Councilman Papp was talking about. We'll be hosting, the city will be hosting a town hall focusing on infrastructure. The host, our guest, is going to be State Senator, gubernatorial candidate Joe Schiavone. You might recall several months ago, I talked about a bipartisan infrastructure bill he had brought to the floor in Columbus. last year didn't go anywhere, he's brought it back to the floor again this year. So, with all the infrastructure issues, I think it's perfect timing. I have invited, officials from Trumbull and Mahoney County. I have invited our state senators, our congressmen, our national senators. So we're hoping to have a big turnout. This type of bill could be, of great consequence, a great benefit to communities like ours. Y'all know my feelings on infrastructure. So it's 7 o'clock, Monday, June 26th, at the high school auditorium. So, the hope is, the state senator will have some remarks, talk about the bill, and then hopefully have a Q&A, and go from there. So I hope folks can make it. I would love to have a big turnout, and, the city could kind of help lead the crusade moving forward on, infrastructure issues.
As an aside, pay attention to House Bill 49, the budget bill. It's making its way to the legislature. So, might be shocked at how that all ends up. And it's not very good.
Nothing further, Mr. President.
Thank you.
I would just like to invite everyone and remind you that we are going to have our Harry Stevens Day on July 2nd, Sunday, July 2nd in downtown. We're still looking for volunteers to help with this annual festival that we have. There's going to be added things this year, including helicopter rides. So I just wanted to put that out there. It's a nice event. It's really the only time of the year that residents pull together. It's an event where people don't shake hands, hello, they hug each other, hello, and see each other maybe with a smile. And of course, we have great hot dogs. So I just want to say I think it's a great community event and invite everyone to attend. That's it.
Thanks.
Andy, real quick, the girl that's been coming to council, she still has green water. I guess.
Mrs. Stahl on Clay Street still has green water.
We grant that stuff to sponsor.
Yeah, she, she's totally different. I didn't understand what chlorox was put on first, because it makes some specimens are different. Did you clean up with Clorox or something first?
You always, when you think it's bacteria, when you spray the outside of the faucet, and that takes off any dirt, any food particles that are on there, then you let the water run. I didn't do it to kill most of the water, okay? Had it done to make sure nothing on the outside of the spigot is affecting the sample.
Okay, I appreciate you that.
Mr. McKevich?
Ed, I was made aware by a constituent of mine, and I went and met with him in the cemetery, about ground restoration after the burial. What is the process the city takes as far as preparing, burial ground? Like, you leveling them off, putting down topsoil, putting right?
I think they use the dirt that's, existing. I don't think we truck in any outside topsoil. They use that, level it off, break out the rocks, and plant grass.
Okay. He was concerned about a family member who was buried in January, I believe. And, it was like, he was buried yesterday. When I was up there, I did notice, and he did point out that there were many other, grave sites, burial sites, with the same problem. Some going back 1-2 years.
Can't speak for the ones 1-2 years ago. I can look into them. I do know that sometimes they'll wait depending on when the tombstone will be arriving, because then they usually have to move dirt to fillet the footer down. I can address the rest of it for you. I don't know, that shouldn't take up the whole spot, so.
Okay. These tombstones are all in, they've been in, and
I
don't know if there's a time frame that they follow up there, or
I don't have the
they
answer
stay on
for
top
you.
of them, they do it once a year, twice a year, or?
I don't have that answer for you tonight, but I'll get an answer.
Okay, appreciate it. The other thing, 2 people contacted me about, the agenda and legislation not being updated on the city website. I thought we spoke about that, made ourselves clear that we would like that on there before, council meetings take place.
I have a note, will, ask Mr. Dibble to work on this immediately. He's been really busy. But we will
Gary, you
try
really
to
do
get
that.
that out.
Thank you.
If he shows you how to do it, would you be able to do it? Can we have Mr. Dibble work with Nikki, grant her access to uploading that information? It's not rocket science, to put this on the website. I realize Mike's busy, and then these administrative functions, Nikki might, if she's in the Word document, it comes over from Sherry, it's electronic, it's a link, PDF. To train Nikki.
Well, Nikki would love to, I know that.
Well, no, she shot me dark up here, but it is what it is. Part of the job up here, make people happy, make people mad.
We'll get with Mr. Dibble tomorrow, or something.
Any more making everybody mad? Hey, Ed, to pick up on Steve's comment about the cemetery, are we fixing the roof on the emergency repairs? I know what's in there, but there's wood showing on, we can't get an emergency repair, just throw some shingles on it before it rots away?
We gotta go out and get a couple quotes, and there's nothing in that budget for repairs.
This is one of these things that's dollars, we step over, you know, we have to fix that. There is bare wood showing on the mausoleum.
We sent our guy up there, we did put the shingles back on there, it blew off, I think, 2 storms ago.
Well,
this is one of those things where we get in trouble for these now and then.
In my estimation, my distinguished colleagues, shingles missing from a roof and bare wood showing is an emergency.
Exactly.
If we don't fix it, the wood's gonna rot. I mean, sweet Jesus, I don't know what to say.
That should be stuff that's what everybody's expecting immediately.
Ed, can we, please, someone to get it fixed. I'm not asking.
How many shingles do you need?
There's,
A square, you need 6 shingles, 5 shingles,
I think when we first went and fixed them, there might have been 12 or 13. I think maybe 1 or 2 have re-blown off, and it's part of this thing that we just got approval.
You want me to drop them off?
When we first put this roof on, just a couple of years ago, it was probably put on pretty crappy.
Yes, it was.
I don't know the reason, but this roof is only like 10 years old.
Has there been a tarp or anything put up to cover this?
We don't need carpet.
With all due respect, in an emergency, we can call a roofer out to conduct an emergency repair. For heaven's sakes. We're not gonna put a big blue tarp.
You can't. Or
Well, then somebody should have brought an ordinance to these guys. This is why these people get upset in here, and I get upset. Stupidity like this.
our purchasing policy that was approved by council requires.
Then someone, with all due respect, Mr. Law Director, should use some damn common sense and fix it. That's why this place is falling apart, that place is falling apart. It's ridiculous. And it is insulting to intelligent people. Now, I don't mean to be yelling at anybody, but damn it, I've had enough of this stupidity. It's ridiculous. No, Jim. Get it fixed. I don't care how you have to do it. Sorry. My heavens, to make it, this is ridiculous. George, you raised the money to build the doggone thing. It's gonna be falling down. I'm sorry. Maybe it is.
It was donated too.
I know it was.
We asked people, and they jumped up forward, and everybody wanted to help, everyone wanted to do it.
It's stupid. I'm sorry. It's stupid. No wonder we get laughed at. Mr. Pisano, any comments?
That's fine, it's going over. You won't even be able to get into it. That's fine, do that. We're not like that.
Yeah, real quick, I want to thank Mr. Merwin for taking care of some issues for me. I want to thank Mr. Vigorito and Mr. Crowley for their departments for being aggressive for some issues that we went through before. And also, I want to set up a safety meeting. And Mr. Slaughter, what day is okay for you next week? Is Friday okay at 4 o'clock?
Next Friday? At 4 o'clock? Yes. This Friday or next Friday? Mr. Pisano, this Friday or next?
Anything earlier, Monday or Tuesday?
Yeah.
How about Monday?
Okay.
4 o'clock?
I'm available.
Okay, 4 o'clock, in the conference room. It might take a little longer. There's 2 items I want to talk about.
I know, yeah. I know.
I appreciate it.
I know. I know.
Can I request?
Can't make a decision. Mr. Steffi?
I move that we adjourn into executive session pursuant to Ohio Revised Code 121-22, to discuss compensation of employees.
No business to follow executive session. Moved by Steffi, is there a second? By McNaughton, call the roll, please.
Mr. Kaplan?
Yes.
Mr. Lastic?
Yes.
Mr. McNaughton? Mr. Steffi? Ms. Marquez? Mr.
Yeah,
Pettit? Mr. Spano? Mr. Marino?
Her father.
Record show that it's 7:13.
That's why. Jim was the one who told me how to meltdown. We can't go fix the roof if the shingles don't fall on.
I was trying to tell you I was gonna do it tomorrow, but thank you. Uh-oh, Brand's starting out.
The building report. Yeah, just ask, the mayor, whoever has it.
Like 3 years ago.
Yep, 5 years. Right, 10 years. I'm
I need that. Yeah, I need that now.
Follow that. We have 10.1%, one line, it's only good for 15 days. Payment is $30 for 30 days, and you can have additional time for 80 days.
It's duplicate.
I probably have one for
One necessary sign, occupant.
Maybe I'm understanding.
One such temporary sign shall be forbidden, occupant on any story building.
Right, but if we have one store, they only have one sign. If it's $30.
Yes, Coyote, yes.
This one says if they have a 5-story building,
But the rule is
one sign.
The permit, we go through it. Well, that is we.
Oh, yeah, you're calling me. Shall not be granted for a period of at least 2 weeks. 4 or 5. Oh, that's convenient. Permit shall be expired 30 days after date of issuance thereof, which means they have 30 days. They get a permit. They can put it up at any time during those 30 days. Sort of like you get a wedding, a marriage license. You don't have to get married that day.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
All right, well.
So you issue a permit and have 30 days to execute that permit.
That other one, also in the.
So all that means is the permit they get, they don't have 30
Hey, Derek, Derek, what are you doing?
All executive.
Have fun.
Always.
Oh. You know, it had something to do with, what's my rate at? Where's my script at? I think it was compensation of employees and,
That's what it sounds like.
I think it was compensation of employees, and then, I didn't catch the last part, I didn't do it. But it's all about employees. Absolutely not. Well, they're not, they're not, it could take, like, I've seen them back there for 10, 15 minutes, sometimes they're back there for an hour. So it really just depends on who says what. Yeah, I didn't.
Which kind of surprised me, we thought, again, we just, maybe they have someone, like, I don't know, think they did more. Well, sure, what road is off, right, or something, they're into doing that, but I guess they're thinking of a similar facility. Water. It's pretty much the same thing, they had someone come to town.
Right.
Do like,
And what do you think too, even the five for it, I mean, they're not
yeah, well,
right, for the entire state.